You're listening to The Main Loop, a bi-monthly podcast all about what makes games interesting, engaging, and most importantly, fun to play. I assume I.O. is just for people who think they're cool. I think that's correct.
I'm cool with that.
Yeah.
I remember listening to the CodePen podcast about how they ended up with CodePen.com and like how super sketchy it is because like this random guy owned it and like, are you recording right now?
Oh yeah, we're live. This is happening.
No, some random guy just like owned it and was like, hey, I'll sell it to you for some undisclosed amount of money. It's like, maybe, but this is an email and you could be totally lying to us. Hashtag internet.
I'm going to start just emailing random people. Hey, I totally own pizza.com. Give me $1 million and I'll send it right over. Trust me.
I own pizza.games.
Pizza.games. It's TML 20, everybody. This is The Main Loop. It is episode 20. I'm Sean. And Stu's here.
I think I am. I'm in person.
Yeah,
IRL.
We're doing another IRL episode. We doing IRL with some for the audio only listeners. We have some beers for the fundamentalist listeners. That's root beers. Yeah.
Yeah, let's see if that caught it all.
Yeah. So Stu is drinking a Prost Helles and I'm drinking a Prost Dunkel. Prost is a sweet brewery here in Denver that does really good German styles. But Stu, why don't you tell the folks at home the significance of TML20? That's hashtag TML20.
Use it to join the conversation.
On Twitter. Yeah, if you're listening live, use hashtag TML20. And also promo code TML20 will get you into the chat room tonight. And gets you 10% off your first purchase from the Noob Shoes store.
It'll get you 20% off nowhere.
Yep.
Absolutely
nothing. Stu, why is TML20 matter?
Because we did it. I mean, so I had a goal at the start of the year to podcast 20 episodes. I was like, well, we're doing it every other week. Let's give a little bit of buffer. I was like, let's say if we can get 20, and then we did.
Yeah,
we made it. It's two sets of 10, 4 sets of 5, 10 sets of 2. It's insanity.
And you can divide it so many ways. Best podcast NA can be divided so many different ways.
Oh, what they talk about? They just talked a lot of factors of
Those
20.
Those guys are obsessed with the number 20. It's weird. I think they're numerologists. Yeah, it's been great. I mean, it's been a difficult road. It turns out that having twin children under the age of 2, or any age, but specifically ones under the age of 2, makes it a little hard.
Having children. And
having
then being
children,
like,
yeah.
That's the baseline. And then you just kind of like hiked it up there.
I did step it up. I took it up, go big or go home. Yeah, it turns out that makes it a little hard to do a podcast all the time, but we've done it. I think we've only missed 2 episodes.
Yeah, like 2 episodes.
And we still made it to 20. Which I love that, like, listening to, like, The Angry Chicken, and they're like, episode 250, and we've got the inventor of Blizzard and every voice from the Warcraft team here to celebrate. And we're like, we went to 20 episodes. Let's have beers. Yeah.
For episode 200, we'll get Steve Jobs on. It'll be great.
Ghost of Steve Jobs. Okay.
Anyway.
Okay, somber moment. What's going on? iOS 11 is out today. And why does that matter on a gaming podcast? Well, because there's lots of really good games on iOS.
Yeah, there's lots of amazing games on iOS.
We were just talking about Alto's Adventure. We keep talking about that. I hit level 34. So I've got 6 levels to go before I get the alpaca or the llama.
Alpaca, no, it's not.
I'm pretty sure it's a llama.
Oh, no, you're right. It's llamas.
Llamas.
Yeah.
I mean, they're same
very
animal.
different, especially at like a 10 pixel level. You can really...
Alpacas just have the like booby tassels on their head.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah. Alpaca booby tassels in the Noob Shoes store. Use promo code TML20. Get 20% off your first order of alpaca booby tassels. You were saying that the alpaca, though, is not so great.
Hashtag real talk. Yeah, I don't know. So I was like working for it, right? Because it takes a little while, and it's not like those other games where it's like, hey, you crashed.
I'm not like those other games.
Want to pay $30 to continue? Great. Like,
yeah.
No, it's like, okay, I crashed. I can do better. Let me try again.
Yep.
Worked through it, ground my way up. Loved all of the other characters. They were like really unique. Got to the alpaca and I was like, oh, it's a dude on 4 legs and it's cute. But that's about it. There was no like. I was kind of hoping there'd be like some special ability, like it could float through air longer or something.
The floaty alpaca. Alpaca
like,
levitation,
like alpacas do.
Yeah, levitating alpacas. They do all kinds of mountain meditation and stuff. It's a fact.
But I'm pretty happy with it.
Okay.
I enjoyed all the time I spent there, and like I was shocked at. I remember like at level 30 or something. I was like, oh, this is this thing called a proximity black flip. What the heck is that? Oh, that's where you're like right next to the ground.
Sorry, it was a proximity black flip. Is what you just said.
Nailed it.
Yeah. And proximity black flip. Private detective. I'm enjoying the grind. The missions that they do, I have very mixed feelings about the quests that you do to level up in Alto's Adventure because some of them are so just RNG dependent.
Yeah.
Like it's just a matter of how the map's going to be laid out when you run it. And I get that's...
Have you gotten to the one that's like grind on 5 rooftops yet?
Maybe. One of the ones I have now is something called Proximity Wingsuit or Proximity Wing Flight. I don't even know what that is, so I've got to figure out what that means. And like backflip onto rocks 3 times. And I just did the one that was like escape 3 elders in one run, and that was hard because you just had to go so long. And I had another one, I don't remember, but some of them were just so RNG dependent. And others felt like they kind of disrupted the normal game rhythm because it was like you'd be having like a good run and you'd complete one, but it was like, well, I really need to like restart to try the other ones.
Yeah, that is a little disappointing, especially with how great each game is.
Because you don't want it to stop because it is really satisfying just cruising down the hill and the music is always so good and like the weather effects and stuff. I love the one that was like survive rain and snow in the same run.
Oh yeah,
I had never even noticed the snow in the game,
oh my God,
and then I was like,
thing.
yeah, and it's beautiful. It's incredible looking. So, and then Alto's Odyssey will be out soon. But all that to say, to bring it back around, the new App Store in iOS 11, which has been really, completely redesigned. Not like they've pretended to redesign it before. This is like really, really different. But it makes browsing for games and indie games a lot better. Like they've really put a lot of emphasis and focus, and
it's like App Store meets Medium kind of. It looks like there's articles on it now where they'll be like, here's a featured game, and I'm really excited by it. Even the front page where it's like just all of this info instead of like. And here are 50 billion games that you're not interested in, or just like apps that you'll never use.
Yeah, or here's the top charts. Here's the top gross. Like, great, I get it. People spend $1 billion in Candy Crush, but I don't want to see that.
It's 5 billion yearly, but.
Well, yeah. So you open the App Store. Now there's this Today view, which has these nice big cards, really beautiful looking, and but like so I'm seeing an AR app card all about this Thomas and Tank Engine augmented reality game. And I touch on that, and it's this beautiful, like, full screen. There's, like, an article write-up about it. There's all kinds of screenshots that are, like, super interactive. It's pretty great. And there's this Game of the Day card. I'm seeing Thimbleweed Park advertised right here, which is awesome, because that's, like, this great indie point-and-click adventure. There's these little autoplay videos. Yeah, it's fantastic.
At first, when I heard about it, I was like, this just means another thing that's going to make it even harder for indies to, like, make it. Right? It's like, there's even fewer apps on the front of the App Store that makes it harder. Well, actually, not really, because it means that Apple is getting a little more authorial control over, like, what is going to go up there, and, like, the stuff that's up there is probably going to be... a little bit. I'd be willing to bet the stuff that gets on the top of the store is going to convert a little bit better in terms of their sales. And it also just means that instead of being like, Episode 20. Still working on my mic tactics. And it also means that let me just swing from side to side actually while I talk.
I'm going to get you like a Britney Spears, Garth Brooks like clip-on microphone that you can just wear and wander around my house. It'll be great.
or you'll just like get me a retainer that's attached to the like it'll be like a full like kit that like attaches so my face literally
You just
can't move.
Yeah, it's like at the eye doctor where you put your head in the thing, just lock you in. Yeah, I'm gonna Clockwork Orange you on this podcast.
So anyway, I think it'll be really great for smaller game companies to like actually get their stuff featured. I think it means that you'll get a little bit more information and like a deeper chance to sell you than just like, oh, Candy Crush had some artist that, you know, painted this like psychologically proven thing that will make you buy their product. Instead it's like, no, let's tell a little story and like maybe it'll cause some people to play games that they wouldn't have otherwise. And Apple also discovered that videos were a thing now, that you can actually see people playing the game in like full screen as you scroll past, instead of it being like, oh, and here's a small icon.
Yeah. Well, and there's an actual games section now, which is huge. Because I'm looking at it and I'm seeing stuff that I'd forgotten about. Like, I forgot there's this whole AR kit that we were, like, freaking out about. And now there's this whole section of, like, augmented reality games. And that's definitely what we're doing after the show, is playing with iPad and some augmented reality games. And, again, I'm seeing Thimbleweed Park.
Yeah.
And I'm seeing there's your Iron Marines that you were talking about, like, all showcased here. So, yeah, I mean, it's the top charts are still there, but they're kind of buried. And now the focus is more on... some of the newer stuff and some of the actual indies. So I'm hoping it helps drive even more. You know, I hope more people realize that there's more than just Game of War, Fire era, faux battle, clan time. Then there's more to life than Power Gem City Builders on the App Store.
Well, and I'm also super hopeful that now that there's a little more real estate to work with, it means that obviously Apple is still going to highlight big companies, right? Like, it makes them money. I can hate it, but I can't like really blame them for being like, oh, you want to make money. That's a thing that people do. But at least it means that like one of the games that's up at the top, not even in the gaming section, in the home screen, is Twofold. And the app icon is just like this little robot eye dude with a little like dongle at the top. And like, if you have to compare
Robo dongle,
by the makers of Noob Shoes, Robo dongle.
Use promo code TML20 to get 20% off of your first order of Robo dongle.
But like, if I were just like a person who said, oh, $199 for this weird Robo dongle, or like free for this like candy thing, like, you're probably gonna press the candy thing. But given full real estate, it's like, oh, I can actually see someone playing this game now.
Yeah.
Maybe I will spend $2 on it instead of being like, oh, this is this other free game.
Yeah, because I pull up this card that's showing me this thing about Twofold, and this little video starts playing in the card that's actually showing the gameplay happening, and it's incredible, and it actually is much more like, oh, that's what it looks like. Because there has always been such an element of you're taking a risk on an unknown quantity in the App Store that... And again,
especially with indies that aren't free to play usually.
Right. Yeah. And it's funny because, people will spend $60 on a game that might not be good on like a console, but for some reason when it's on your phone, you're like, do I want to spend $5? Ooh. But yeah, having this actual like seeing this gameplay, it's awesome. And there's like really good editorial, like there's tons of copy here. It's great. I'm really excited actually for this. I think it's going to help a lot more people find just better games to play. Like, y'all deserve really better than Candy Crush.
And speaking of better games, Sky is coming
let's
to
talk
iOS
about this
first.
Yes.
So Sky is by That Game Company, which is probably the single most pretentious game company name ever. Mm-hmm. But somehow no one cares because like the entire game industry is like goo over Genova Chen and the games he's made. So for
it doesn't help that his name is Genova Chen, which it doesn't help that he sounds like
Yeah.
like the villain in some movie about a megalomaniacal like genius like young.
Yeah. He sounds like an anime character. Like literally a high school anime character that's like the brilliant like from Death Note basically. Like he's brilliant, genius, like
No, to me it sounds more like the guy in the movie. Like I'm thinking of did you ever see Deus Ex? Movie? It's about the young genius whose Google type company. He's building robots that are superhuman, human like, and anyway, he's a bad dude. And it's just Genova Chen just sounds like the name of a guy who it turns out has been secretly building like, evil AI to replace us or something like that.
But anyway, so he's now
Sure, he's a nice guy. Genova, actually, if you're listening, he's actually joining us tonight.
We heart you. I heart you greatly. Don't worry. He's only made like 4 games in, I think, what's close to like a 20-year game development career, which is a little crazy, especially given that we're not talking like 4 AAA titles. We're talking like 4 really, 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 really pared down games.
Right. Journey is going to be the one that probably most people have heard of. If you've played, it was on PS3
and PS4 later.
Yeah. Journey is like one of those, an indie game. And it's really, really highly, highly regarded. I've still never played it.
Yeah, so Journey is like one of those games, along with like Portal, where people are like, now games are ready to be serious. Where it's like, that's a different conversation, but like Journey is literally that type of game, and I think it takes all of like, if I remember properly, I played it in like 15 minutes, and I was like, I don't even know what happened, but like, I understand the universe and like humans now. I don't even know what I did.
And humanity makes sense.
Like, I'm not sure I did anything, but it was amazing, but I feel like I did things.
So Journey will transport you to the edge of the cosmos.
Like
you'll see God and the singularity. And
yeah, like basically. I'm not even joking. So
the curvature of the earth.
So Journey, they made it without arms because, and I'm not even kidding you.
Quote, hang on, they created the game without using their arms?
No game character has arms. So it's the opposite of the Nintendo game. No arms. No character has arms. Because, quote, people use arms to hit each other in games. Like this is literally the reason. Like they wanted to strip as much violence as possible out of this game, and basically all you're doing is like sort of swimming, flowing, like surfing around this world and exploring it. And as you explore, you will find occasionally one other traveler who you'll kind of like follow around with and interact in these really weird ways that you didn't expect, because you can't talk to them, you can't chat with them, you can't make motions at them. All you can really do is like follow them around, and they follow you around. And then at the end of it, you're just like crying, and you're not really sure why. And then the credits roll, and you realize you were actually playing with like a bunch of different people and not just one person. And so like different people would blip in and out of your game experience. And it was just like incredible. Like I literally almost considered buying a PlayStation 3 for it, just because I was like, I have to play this game again. And apparently the sort of thing that Sky was sort of started on was people would be like, oh yeah, I want to play this with friends, and you can't play Journey with friends. Like you can all watch one person play, but you don't have any control over who you get matched with. So you can't be like, oh, let's play this cool thing together. So Sky is basically like, nope, we're gonna like let you play with apparently up to 8 people, and on top of that, it's iOS first.
Yeah,
which is insane. Like the idea that someone who is like so highly regarded as a game, I don't want to say like artist, but like director, is like choosing iOS first is like such a huge leap.
Yeah.
And like on Twitter, there were all these people that's like, that's dumb. iOS isn't a real gaming device. And it's like, well,
yeah,
I'm not sure you've actually been paying attention.
Right. Because I think of games like Oceanhorn, which has now been ported to everything. I mean, it's on the Switch now, for crying out loud, but that was a little iPhone.
Which still feels weird. It feels kind of like having your ex-girlfriend and your current girlfriend be friends.
It's a little weird.
Because it's like Zelda and also not Zelda on
yeah.
the same... I'm like, I don't know. What's going on?
But just, yeah, there have actually been a lot of games that it's like, No,
good,
iOS
good
is the
games.
focus. Yeah.
And it's like, and he was like, yeah, oh, well, you know, we wanted a bunch of people to play. And people were like, well, it's not Android. And it's like, but I don't even understand what you're saying now because they started on the PS3. This is like a huge jump forward.
Right. And it's coming, I think, to the Apple TV.
Yep, and
first.
Apple TV.
Yeah. Is it coming to the Apple TV first? Because that during Apple's keynote, they showed it during like the Apple TV segment.
I think it was designed like sort of to be truest on the Apple TV, but from what I understand, it's a full iOS release.
Okay.
So mobile, iPad, and
Okay.
Apple TV.
That's really cool.
And it'll be like a real social experience. They said like it'll be kind of like a sort of like a park that you like keep coming back to with friends, and it just seems really exciting and awesome, and I can't believe it's coming out this year. It's like I've been waiting for this game for years, and I was like resigned to buying a PS4 or X or Xbox One PS.
The PlayStation 4 box.
But now it's on an iPhone, and I'm like, this is incredible.
Yeah.
It's so exciting. Like I've been playing Broken Age recently, actually, and they actually have Broken
Oh,
Age
yeah.
for iPad.
Yeah.
And like I've been playing it on my computer because that's what I have, and I'm just like, I don't even want to do that anymore if I don't have to. Like there are very
Broken
few
Age, that's the point and click adventure
from Double Fine.
Double Fine, yeah.
And it's like, this is a great game. I love it, but honestly, if there's not like a super compelling reason for me to play a game on my computer now, I don't wanna. Like, I grew up reading a lot of books, so like that's kind of the type of way I want to play games too. Is just like sit in a comfy corner, just like play for a little bit, either on my TV or on a handheld, and like if I can do it on an iPad, if I can do it on my Switch, like every damn day of the week.
Well, that's what for me is so great about this explosion of indie games on the Switch, because we'll definitely talk about a lot of that later. But I'm the same way. I mean, I'm so excited about Skyrim coming out for the Switch because I can sit in like a cozy chair and play Skyrim for hours like by myself, because most of the time I play single player games. Like Heroes of the Storm is the notable exception because I play a lot of that game, but like my PC that I bought for Steam and everything has really just become it makes Heroes of the Storm look great.
Yeah.
It's a really nice Heroes of the Storm machine, and sometimes Overwatch. But other than that, I play single player games on my Switch or on my iPhone. So yeah, I'm definitely with you, and am really excited about a lot of this sort of indie revival. I don't know where I'm going with that.
I think my biggest hope is with like the switch to the App Store and like all the stuff that people will, especially on iOS, and I think it's just harder on Android, just given the platform and where it came from. I'm hopeful that we might start to see either like a realignment or game prices start to come up a little bit.
Ooh, yeah.
And like not egregiously. Like I think $10 is like kind of the sweet spot of like $2 to $10 of like where I want to pay, just because that's what I spend on books, right? Like that's kind of the type of experience I'm looking for. Like there are some games, right? Just like some books, I'll be like, 300,000 words, like 5-hour Lord of the Rings. Let's do this. I'm ready. Take me now. But most stuff, I'm like, let's pay a few bucks. I'm interested in this. I'm willing to devote a few hours of my life, but I'm not gonna like soup up my Xbox One X PC Ultra gamer console to play most games, because that's not what I'm interested in. And so I'm hoping this is kind of like an exciting new territory for indies with like Apple and Switch.
Do you remember the Ouya?
Oh man, that was gonna be a thing.
That was gonna be a thing. Yeah, I don't know why I've seen. There's some people I've seen tweeting about the Ouya lately. Like people are remembering it. This was the like Android-based open source game console
that was kickstarted.
That was kickstarted
just
successfully,
checking all of the like indie pretentious checkboxes. It was great, but
but I mean, it was really just a little Android box that plugged into your. It was a Raspberry Pi that could play Android games basically, and I just saw some people on Twitter that the one I saw that I liked was somebody tweeted, I backed the Ouya on Kickstarter and all I got was this crappy Ouya.
Pour
it just
one out.
didn't materialize the way something like the Apple TV has, because there's still been quite a few. Lumino City, I've talked about before, but like playing that on the Apple TV with this little dumb, swipey, tiny glass remote that you lose every 5 seconds, but it's incredible. It's just this amazing experience that is still designed for your nice big television set, but is also like meant for really simple controls, and it's meant for like kick back, put your feet up. You don't have a headset on. You're just like enjoying the experience, you know?
I'm wondering, this is a hot take, so
we're
going for it.
Hashtag TML20 hot takes.
Join the discussion.
Yeah.
So like 5 years ago, Nintendo was dead.
Yes.
Effectively dead. Like we were all like, Nintendo's dead.
Yeah.
And Apple wasn't a legitimate like game company at all. And now, like in a lot of ways, Apple and Nintendo are like two of the biggest potential game companies moving forward with AR, with Nintendo Switch. You know, PlayStation and Xbox are like fighting over like these bigger and bigger, like more intense rigs, right? That seems like will probably appease the more traditional gamer base, right? The people who are like, I'm going to play games forever and like be locked in my parents' basement. And, like, that's fine. But it feels like in a lot of ways, like weirdly, Apple and Nintendo are now like defining the new future of games that, you know, where it used to be like in the last 5 years, Steam was kind of like huge. Now it's like, now my general opinion is if I can get a game for iOS or Switch instead of Steam, probably going to do it. Unless there's a very, very good reason.
Yeah.
And what's interesting is like everyone who talks about Apple and Nintendo is always like, oh, well, they'll never be Xbox and they'll never be PlayStation. It's like, no, they probably won't. You know, you're probably not going to play Anthem on your Switch anytime soon.
Right.
With that level of rendering. But, you know, if you're playing stuff like Hollow Knight on your iPad or your Switch, or if you're playing stuff like Broken Age or like Dream Daddy, which was a huge hit over the summer, which like it was only on Steam. But as we see things get easier to be released on Switch and iOS, I could definitely envision 1 or 2 years that comes to Switch first instead. I could definitely see where, you know, all of a sudden Apple and Nintendo are like the indie like sweet spot for where people are going to play games because they're the most accessible, cheapest games to find.
Well, and I think about when Apple released the Apple Watch and they had the whole keynote where they were announcing it and the one more thing and all that, but they kept talking about how it was a really personal device. Like, this is our most personal device ever. And they've continued to talk about that with their phones and with iPad updates and things like that, about making it a really personal experience. There's a way that you connect, and there is something to be said about indie games on iOS and now even the Switch, where it's a very personal experience that you get to have, because you're not playing PlayerUnknown's Battleground powered by Bluehole online with a bunch of strangers, or League of Legends or something like that. Like, it is this experience that is tailored just for you, the individual player. They're not targeting, how can we tailor this to, you know, a million players? It's tailored to the individual player, giving them a really good experience. And, you know, I was sick over the weekend and spent most of the weekend playing Kingdom New Lands on my Switch, which I definitely want to talk about later.
Also available on iOS.
Also on iOS, also on Steam, also on your toaster, powered by Bluehole. But it was this just very, like, I had headphones and my Switch, and just like having this really enjoyable experience that just felt tailored to me, the player. It wasn't tailored to the player base, TM. Yeah. It was tailored to me, the player.
The playsumer.
Right, yeah. And thinking about things like Monument Valley or the Simogo games on iOS, which are just, again, they're about you, the individual player, having this experience. And there's just something about that that's just really compelling and really fun to sit down and play a game that was feeling like this game was made for me. Like, there was a designer and a director and a team of people thinking about what will it be like to sit down and play this game, not how do we get people into the game, how do we keep them into the game, how do we monetize it, how do we keep expanding it, how do we turn it into an esport, but how do we get that guy sitting in the chair playing it, how do we give him a really good experience or her a really good experience? And so And there's, again, when you have this device, something like a phone that's so personal by nature, it's got all your, it's got all your personal stuff on it, to then have that be like a gaming source. Yeah, there's definitely something to that. Did you talk about the Switch?
Yeah, I think that he kind of just like said it so beautifully. It was great.
Powered by Bluehole.
And we're gone. And we're
TML 20. 20% off your first Bluehole.
We need like Ryan Seacrest to come in and be like, and now on TML 20.
Yeah. So, yeah, let's talk about the Switch. So, Kingdom New Lands, I bought over the weekend. This is just an updated version of the game Kingdom. It's expanded with some new lands, from what I hear.
See what you did there.
Yeah. So, Kingdom is a really interesting game. It is, it's side-scrolly, 2D, pixel arty, all the artsy-fartsy things you want in an indie game. Amazing, acclaimed soundtrack with lots of synths and ambient sounds, et cetera, et cetera. And
also, it's like the one guy doing like every beautiful indie soundtrack.
I mean, it's just
ever.
A guy, yeah. But so you play as a king or a queen, trying to build your kingdom. Which off the bat, one of the things I love is the way you select your avatar. Is while the loading bar has appeared, you just see like a king or a queen on horseback, and if you're just pressing the A button, it just starts cycling through the avatars, and whatever one happens to be up. Whatever one you leave up when the loading bar is done is going to be your avatar for that round.
That's cool.
Yeah. Excuse me. Still have this cough. I'll edit that out. So you start, and a little ghost leads you along. You pick up some coins, and he leads you to a campfire, and you throw some coins in the campfire, and it lights up. And then you throw some coins at some like peasants, some hobos, and they become villagers, and then you can go to the shops, and if you can throw some coins at like the bow maker, and he'll make a bow, and then one of your villagers will pick it up, and now he's a bowman, and he'll go out hunting and bring you coins, and he'll defend against monsters. Or you can throw coins at the hammer guy, and he'll build a hammer, and one of your villagers who doesn't have any tools will pick up the hammer, and he becomes a builder. And so the whole thing, you just move back and forth until you find something that has that when you stand next to it, it'll have empty little coins like will appear above it, and that's how many coins you take.
I've only seen the preview, but that UI element just looks incredible to me.
It's great. Like, so there'll be like a mound of dirt, and so you walk in front of the mound of dirt, and a little single coin appears. So you hold A and you pop a coin up there if you've got a coin. And then if you've got a builder, he'll run over, and then he'll start building, and it'll be a simple little wall. It's like 2 pointed sticks. But then there'll be 3 coins over it. So you can do 3 coins, and he'll upgrade it to like an actual like wooden wall. And then there'll be like big rocks that can be a guard tower. But if you build a guard tower, one of your bowmen will go, and they'll stay there, but they're there permanently to like shoot monsters from the guard tower. So now you're down a bowman. And then you start to explore in the woods, and you find like campfires and tents where there's more like homeless peasants, and you can give them coins. They'll become villagers, and then you can give them tools.
Just don't try this in real life, please.
Right,
It doesn't work.
It has the inverse effect, actually. They just get more homeless.
Yeah.
But so you're doing this, and you find things in the wood, like an abandoned ship, and you don't know what it does. And monsters come out at night, so you need to build good walls. And so hiding under this beautiful, artistic, ambient, musical, indie game is this actually really complex, like, resource management and strategy game where you have to decide how many bowmen do I need, how many walls do I upgrade the wall now, when do I do it, because there's a day and night cycle, and if you tell like your builder, hey, go upgrade this thing, and then he's out after dark, well, if a monster touches him, he'll lose his hammer first. If a monster touches him again, he'll lose his coin and become just a homeless guy again, and then you're just like out the dude. So you have to be cognizant of like when you tell people to go do
really
things
cool.
and building your walls, and when do you choose to let me get some water.
For those counting along at home, that's cough number 5 by Sean.
Still sick.
Hashtag TML20.
TML20, still sick. So, what was I saying?
You're talking about giving homeless people coins.
Yeah, you throw
and then
coins
having them get touched by monsters at dark.
Yeah. Wow. So, but one of the things that will happen is, say there's a tree right outside your little camp, And you can go put a coin above it, and then one of your builders will come and chop down the tree. But what happens is every time you do something, every time you build something or expand something, the landscape starts to change. The actual background will change, like the elements in the background. What's on the ground will change. So like if there's one of those camps where there's the sort of poor peasants, the humble peasants, if you expand too close to that, the camp will go away because it just sort of, your growth takes over that. And now they're not going to be there anymore. And so you've lost this source of more villagers. So you have to be cognizant of when you choose to expand that far versus when you don't. So there's, and the game doesn't teach you any of this. It all happens by trial and error. It all happens by you exploring through the woods, putting coins on stuff, and kind of seeing what happens. And so after a few playthroughs, I actually got like a kingdom that actually could survive monster attacks, and figuring out what directions do most of the monsters come from, and building up the walls and guard towers. And then you can actually upgrade your camp itself until you have like a little town hall, and then you can get catapults. And it's great. It's this really in-depth resource management and timing and figuring out when to do things. But it's just hiding under, you can walk left or you can walk right. You can make your horse gallop, but not too long, because then he'll get tired and you have to wait until he can gallop again. And you throw coins at stuff. Like that's it. The game doesn't give you anything else to go on other than that. And I couldn't stop playing it. I mean, I played it all day Saturday, most of Sunday, and even I couldn't sleep. So I just played more Kingdom like Sunday night, and then I played it on my lunch break yesterday. Like I just couldn't stop walking left and right and throwing coins at stuff. Like it's really, really a great. And again, it feels like it was designed for me, the guy who's going to sit there playing it, not the Twitch. How can we get?
Not you have like,
streamers love this, and
not like you have a box of coins and you looks like you're out of coins. Pay some money to get more coins.
Yeah. Oh yeah, your builders are building that guard tower. You can make that complete now for 2 power crystals, and right now you can get 1,000 power crystals for $100 if you want. So,
but I'd like 2. We only work in denominations of $5,000. That's $5,000. You can just actually put your paycheck directly towards this.
Actually, we sell the power crystals in denominations of 5, but but all the costs of things are in increments of 8.
Yeah, perfect.
So, yeah, it's great. It's like Father of the Bride. I only need 6 hot dog buns. I'm taking out the extras.
Yes.
Yep.
That was a good moment. I like that.
Yeah.
It was a good reference.
Yeah.
I mean, it feels like Nintendo has had a Nintendo Direct once a week for the last
they just keep happening.
year. It hasn't even been a year, but I mean, I remember in June, when we were all like, oh yeah, well, Nintendo's got this really slow release schedule, and it'll be one a month, and that'll be probably fine, but they better be careful. And now it's like, oh, so there's just going to be 1 million games in the next year for your Nintendo Switch. Have fun.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's
yep.
I'm amazed that there's so many every time I see them, I want to play that. That looks cool. And then you're like, oh, look at this game. I'm like, oh, that looks cool.
Yeah. And it's just still such an amazing experience. I told my wife this because she's the one who bought me the Switch, and I was just like, thank you. This thing's amazing. Again, I'm playing Kingdom handheld all day. I'm like, this is really cool. And finally, I get a moment to pop my Switch into the dock and pick up my Pro Controller, turn on my big-ish TV and my nice-ish sound bar, and oh my God, it's even more beautiful, and the music sounds even more amazing, and and now I'm on my couch with my feet up playing the same thing. It's just it's magical. It's the Nintendo Switch is just amazing. I just kept saying this is the future. I'm living in the future. This thing may as well be a jetpack.
Yeah, and I think what's so funny about it, and maybe this is part of the reason that the PS Vita didn't catch on, is there weren't games that were lower quality 5-10 years ago. Right. And when I say lower quality, I don't mean the game design was lower quality. I don't mean that the storytelling was lower quality. I mean that there just weren't indie studios who had a little bit of money, but not enough money to make the next Halo TM. So like they
Right.
weren't getting any money.
Right.
And then these games just literally couldn't be made because there wasn't a platform for it. The costs were too high. And now it's like, oh, you can play this just like at the point where you want it. Because, you know, I've never been a hardcore gamer. Like, my parents didn't really let me play video games. Like, my first video game was like The Age of Empires, and I thought that was just the best thing ever, right? And then like, and I just always dreamed of Pokemon. Like, that was like the thing.
Stu dreams of Pokemon.
So much. Like literally I made a board game.
Winner of the Palme de Bleu Blanc at Cannes Film Festival.
It's actually a very sad movie. Hour and a half long. But like, you know, that was like the type of game that I was just like so in awe with. And then like it felt like 10 years ago there were like all of these like crazy intense titles like Halo and just blowing out the pixels. Like, oh, we have 50 million times as many pixels as the next.
Blew out a pixel Friday trying to lift a box of books. It was
painful.
Yeah, it was rough.
And it's just like at some point, why does that matter? Like, you know, like I feel like part of this is just the Nintendo Switch is never going to have the processing speed that even
Right.
an Xbox does, right? Like, but we're okay with that. Like, it's a good game, and like there are a lot of good games. There are a lot of companies that are willing to spend a little bit less money, right? Like Super Meat Boy is perfect for Nintendo Switch. Playing it on Xbox is fine, but like that's not what the Xbox was designed to do, you know?
Right.
And so, you know, I just really think we're in this kind of wonderful spot where we have devices that were made for these titles and titles that are just like coming out the wazoo that are like really good, that are focused on like gameplay and game design, which I love, instead of like, oh, so we built another open world TM, and by the way, there's like 3 other game mechanics that like we kind of experimented with and like 2 different levels, and that's
Right.
it. Everything else will pretty much just be a 3D platformer and have fun.
Yeah.
And now it's like, no, actually, like they're just like really good games that are smaller but more focused on the storytelling, like, you know, like Her Story or like Tacoma, or like even, I'm just trying to think of other ones, but they're just games that are focused on very different things, like Firewatch, right? Like the walking sim
Walking simulators, yeah.
is like, that wasn't a thing that could have happened 5 years ago. And like now the Switch is like, the Switch and like iPad are like, I think moving forward, like the perfect spots for these types of titles, because they're low on sort of a lot of different inputs that you need, but like really high on fun and storytelling and like interactive gameplay.
Yeah. It's great. It's great.
It's wonderful.
It's all about the personal touch, TM. Use promo code TML20. You get 20% off your first personal touch from the Noob Shoe store. It's great. Well, my voice is falling apart. I can't keep talking because of this cough. And my neighbor's dogs are freaking out. So I think it's a pretty good place to stop. TML20.
Yeah, I think we hit all the points.
Yeah. What are we going to celebrate? TML25?
Pretty excited, yeah.
TML40 next?
Yeah, sounds like it.
So, yeah. Thanks to everybody listening. We see you. We see you, stats. We see you, listener. If you don't mind leaving an iTunes review eventually, that's super helpful for us. And you can follow us on Twitter, so you know when the show's coming out.
Use TML20 to get 20% off that iTunes review.
20% off your first iTunes review. Hashtag TML20. Yeah, we're on Twitter at The Main Loop. You can email us your ideas and your thoughts and your feedback at mainloopshow@gmail.com. If it's easier for you to just listen in a Chrome tab, you can now go to mainloopshow.com, and there's a nice spanking new web player that works good on your phone and on your desktop. And you can listen to all the episodes there.
Built by a famous person that I know.
Yeah, it was me. I did it. Powered by Bluehole.
From the makers of Noob Shoes.
Yep,
A
and
website.
you can... what else? I think that's about it. So we'll be back in 2 weeks with more Noob Shoes. Thanks to everybody who's listened so far. And yeah.
You realize the way we're setting this up, our first episode, we're going to have a pair of noob shoes. Like, our first, like, video episode, we're going to have a pair of noob shoes somewhere.
Yeah, or like a Noob Shoes jacket.
Yeah.
The Noob Shoes jacket, powered by Bluehole.
With, like, Rex on it somewhere, because, like, that seems like the type of thing. Yeah.
All right, we're going to go play some augmented reality games on my kitchen table now.
Sweet.
Because we're in the future. We'll see y'all later.